Masechta Menochos Daf Samach Tes Amar Aleph. We're starting from 15 lines in the bottom. I showed you. You have the line or not? Bensi. Yeah. Okay. So this is a Seder, Hanotza, Gole, Pil, Sibam. These are all questions of Rabbi Machama, all these shadows that we're going to have. Okay. Boy, Rabbi Machama. Rabbi Machama asked the Shaila, Shtei alach ma'u sheyatiru shelei kisidura. There was two things that were mater. There was the oima that was mater the chodosh, the new tvua for the hedyotim, and then there was the shtei halachem that was mater the kabbanis legavoya, which was much later. The oima was the second day of Pesach, and that second day of Pesach is when we start counting the oima. When we bring the oima with the svira, that's when it's mater the oima for the hedyotim. Shtei halachem is brought shvuos. That's mater all the kabbanis legavoya. So what happens if he planted the tfuah after the oima in Iyah? So now what comes from the new tfuah first? The shtei halachem, and then after the shtei halachem you plant again, and Thomas then comes the Pesach, the second day of Pesach is the oima. Usually it works that oima comes first, the same tfuah, and then you bring it from the shtei halachem. Says Gemara, how is it talking about? It says Gemara can go to Zar Inahu, that he planted the tfuah between the oima and shtei halachem. Let's say like b'oima in the Chodesh. So now, is it going to be good? Says Gemara, b'cholav halay shtei halachem b'oima. First comes the tfuah for the shtei halachem, the new tfuah for the shtei halachem, and then afterwards comes the oima. What's the din? Kisid Shadia? Only if it's in the order that first comes the oima and then the shtei halachem, then it's going to be mutter. Shaloi kisid Shadia, but if it's not in order, it's not going to be mutter. Or Shaloi kisid not Shadia. If we're going to say in that order, it's going to be mutter. Amar Rabbi said, no problem. Toshma, come in here and I'll answer you. It says, V'im takriv minchas bikurim la'Hashem. If you'll be makiv a mincha of the first right, the pasuk is talking about minchas ha'oima. It says out of what ingredients was the oima made of? Min hasoida, from the barley. How do you know? Maybe you're saying it's min soida, maybe it's chitin. Nema aviv b'mitzrayim, v'nema aviv l'deiros. We have the word aviv by Mitzrayim by makes barat. So what did the Makkah hit? The Sa'idim, it says there. Aviv, it was referring to Sa'idim. So just like the word Aviv by Makkah's Barim was going on the Sa'idim, so too the Aviv that says by Oima is going on Makkah, on Sa'idim. Rabbi Akiva says, I have a different araya. Matzino Yachin Shebei Chayvasei and we find that a yachid could bring sometimes a mincha that he's obligated to bring from barley, and sometimes he brings from chitin. And so too by a tzibur, that they have a chayvas tzibur, a mincha tzibur from Sidon, and a mincha tzibur barley, and a mincha tzibur from chitin wheat. Now, if you're going to say that the oima comes only from chitin, the only one, all the menachos, tzibur, it says the word soilus. So it's always menachitin. Except by milchas ha'oima, it doesn't say the word soilus. So the only one that we could say that the Mishnah meant that you bring from Sa'arin could only be the oima, because the oima is the only one that doesn't say soilus. All the other minchas say soilus. Soilus means chitin. So it's a raya that the oima is brought from Sa'arin. The V'achar, another pshat, a third pshat to prove that the oima was brought from Sa'arin. He says, if you're going to say that oima is also from chitin, so the shtei halachem cannot be the first right, because the first right was brought for the oima already. So now you're going to tell me, it's first right again for the shtei halachem that was already used for the oima. Says the Gemara, but if you're going to say that if it's out of order, it's also fine. So I could always find for either one. No, the shtei halacha shaloi kisidon sharia. If you're going to say out of order is good, mashkachas I can find your chitin will be first right for Oima and first right for the shtei halacha. How? The makriv Oima mahanuch the ashish. He is makriv the Oima from those chitim that were koidim l'shtei halacha. So the first chitim come from the tvua that grew before the shtei halacha, and ubasa oimer the shtakin, but it comes after the oimer of last year. So you have one crop, a new crop for the oimer, and a new crop for the shtei halacha, and they're both chitim. Ushtei halacha mahanach the ashish koidim la'oimer. You have the shtei halacha, which you are makriv from those that was from the chitim that he planted in Iyar, which comes before the Oima, because the Oima is going to come from the Tammuz one. The Hashto Bas Shtei Alachem, the Hashtakim. Now it's going to come, that Oima is going to come after the Shtei Alachem. So you see, if out of order was good, you have no proof that it has to be from Bali. Your whole proof from Bali was because if the Oima was chitin, so how could you say the Shtei Alachem is also from the new Tvua? You already brought from the new Tvua for the Oima. Now, if it's out of order, it's good, so it's not a problem. You have no proof that the Oima was Bali. So Zaraya, from this, that the Gemara says, my proof is, because you can't call Shtei Alachem new, Bikurim, has to be because the Oima was a different ingredient. It was barley. So it was for barley, and for the Shtei Alachem was chitin, so it was the first chitin. Says Gemara, Yisabris, Bikurim lepeder kameiron. Do you think we're looking at when you planted, but it's in the same year, and we don't look at the tvua itself. The tvua is null. El mizbeach coming on. We look what comes on the mizbeach. So what came on the mizbeach, we look for that year. You look on the mizbeach. I don't care when you planted. It's all from the same year. You already had the first tvua on that mizbeach of that year. I don't care if you take from the new crop. It's still that year. By Rabbi Machama yes the shayla shtei alechem hanotza oy chanota. By the shtei alechem is the shtei alechem. When is it considered as bikurim as a full payda? That you bring it on the mizbeach. Is it from the hanotza? Hanotza means from the budding when it starts drop to grow, or chanota, or if it blossoms when the flower falls off. So the flower is before the peder comes out. A little flower comes out. That's hanotza, and then when the flower falls off, that's called the blossom. You see a tiny of the peder. Okay. What is hanotza? What's chanota? Hanotza the peder, chanota the peder. If you're referring to the fruit itself, that the hanotza is going on the flower fell off the bud, and the chanota is already when the peder. It's all on the fruit. Hashta shasha sharia. When it comes to the tvua, when it's rooted into the ground, you say it's already considered as a full peder just by the rooting. Hanatza chanata mibaya for sure. Hanatza chanata. That's a much further stage in the growth. For sure, it's going to be considered as a full peder for bikurim. Allah hanatza the all of the chanata Allah. He's not referring to the fruit. He's referring to the leaf that comes out where there's the hanatza and the chanata before the peder, way before. So bihavi. Ki hashasha, is that the leaf part where you have hanotza and chanata? Is it the same din as the rooting of the tvua, like it's a full prayer, or not? Take it. Says Gemara, we'll leave it for Eliyot to answer. Tishbi yitanis kushes abayis. That's the Rashi tables. Bay Rabba Ba Rav Chanan chitin shezaram bekarka. Chitin that you planted into the karka. Oima matiran, ein oim matiran. The chitin that you now put into the karka, it's no more. It's not. Is it considered as chitin that you put in a box and the chitin is still there, or if you put it into the karka, it's nisbatel and it's nothing. It's no fruit.
Usually it gets
rotten. It gets rotten and then it grows again. That's by a seed. Yeah, but here he took the chitin and he put it into the karka and it grows also. So in fact, how's it talking about? If these chitin already rooted in Tanina, we learned that the din in the Mishnah. You go. If it rooted, you'll go according to the rooting, and once it's rooted, it's a payda. Either like ashish, if you just stuck it into the ground and it didn't root, says Gemara Tanina, we learned it's not if it rooted before the oima matira, then the oima will be mata these tvua. But if it didn't root yet, asur nachi oima above till the next year oima till it roots into the ground. The Gemara Loitzicha over here is talking about the Chazdino V'Zar'inhu, that he took the chitim from the tvua, he cut from the new tvua of that year. Koidem lo'ima, before he brought the oima. V'asalei oima v'cholot l'avayu. And the oima came, he was making the oima while it was in the ground before it rooted. Become a boile. Ma'ol nakutu meichel minayu. Could I take it out of the ground and eat it? So again, the tvua I put into the ground. We were talking about before it grew fully. Here we're talking about that he took full tvua, he cut it before the oima, and now he put it into the ground. Is it considered as it's outside the ground? He just put it in a box, and when you mark the oima, that tvua is mutter. Or we say once he puts it in the ground, it's in his bottle. So here he says both sides. Keman deshad yod bekadadomi. When he put this tvua into the ground, is it like he put it into a box? Visharino oima and the oima will be matered. Oidilma bottle that it became bottle to the ground. And we're soon going to see there's a difference if it's considered as ground or above the ground, because when I get to Aina, we're going to learn. We'll start right here. Yes, lan Aina, Aina. Let's say somebody. There's a din, the Ein Aina b'karka. You're not allowed to cheat a person more than a sixth. If you cheat him more than a sixth, then the mekach is bottled.
A little cheat you could do it.
Huh?
A little cheat you could do it.
1 second. So a sixth,
You go into Betsy's, you grab
more than a sixth, mekach is bottled.
pickles already out.
The mekach is bottled. A sixth, if it's a sixth, you can demand the extra. Davai, give me the extra money you took out of my pocket. If it's less than it's less than a sixth, then it's a good mekach. Okay. So, but when it comes to karka, there's no Aina. He can cheat you from, that's a problem over here.
The real estate.
Okay. So he says, hey, Chidam, how is it talking about? If you're going to say, the Meicha said to the Kaina, Shadai Bar Shita, I put in 6 kurim of chitim into the ground. And that's what I'm telling you. He only put in 5. He says, so he ripped them off a shishis, a 6. Anything that you can weigh, right, or measure, or numbers, even if it's less than the 6th, the mekach is not going to be chayzi. He can back out. It's not a mekach. If it's something you count or something with, it's a mekach tois, exactly, and you can do it over. He says, no, I'm not telling you a number. I'm not telling you what measure. I put into this shetach of the field what it needs. And that's what he says. He didn't give enough what this field needs to grow up all the crops. So now, yes, no. So to these chitim, but before it rooted, doesn't have a din Aina like it's out of the ground, like it's metaltalin. Because Aina, there is a din of Aina if it's above, if it's metaltalin. The command, the shadi bekada damya, we're going to consider it as he took all this chitim and put it in a box. And it's if it's not in not karka, or dilma, or perhaps batalul gabayara. Once he stuck it into the ground, it's karka. No din Aina. Now another din will be a chilik. There's made of a mixas. Well, you chayv ashur. Somebody's made of a mixas. I say, I lent you $100. You say no, $50. You lend me $50 not. So then you have to, but mix you swear. But the same thing here by karka. He says he gave a certain amount. He's made. You didn't give me this amount. You gave me half. So he's going to have to swear. So if it's on karka, he would not swear. So he says, is the tvur that he promised him that he put into the ground enough to give off? Is it considered putting it in a box and he's chayv as a meidah mixes to swear? Or I don't know, perhaps batalu agav ara I'll say it's bottled to the ground. It's like the ground itself, and it's there's no Maidam Mixas, he doesn't have to swear. Teiko, Tishbi, Yitanis Kushal Bayis. Okay, next shayla. Bayrav Chama,
You have a large job.
a big job.
5 years ago, man, we could see this. The dates fell off.
Well, yeah, very similar.
Much, but yeah.
Very good, very good.
Full amount.
Yes, yes.
Was Minnesota or out of-
Boy,
Well,
boy, Rabbi Chama, Bar Chama is the shayla. Chitin shebiglolei baka. The chitin that you find in the number 2, in the waste that comes out of the oxen. Usa'eder shebiglolei behema. Or the barley that you find in the drek of the behema comes out.
He fertilized.
In the fertilizer, he found the chitin or the seder. Ma, what's the din? Lamai. Din. What's your shaila? Ilema. If your shaila is, if it's litamuya, it's considered as a food that's susceptible to become tuma seicholin. If it touched something that was tamei. Tanina, we learned already the din. Chitin. Shabiglole baka usa'eden shenims biglole behema. The chitin that are found in the waste of oxen, or the barley that's found in the waste of a behema, if the person decided he's going to take it out of the glolim to eat it, it doesn't have a din of tumasayla. Because just the machshava that I'm going to do this is not good enough. He has to do a meiser. Lichton, if he took it out of the garbage, out of the waste, to eat it, then it becomes tamei tumasayla. So says the Gemara. So we already learned it. So he says you're right. That's not the shayla. Ella lemenachos. We're talking about if this kemach is good to use for a kabel mincha. Says Gemara pshita delay. Sure enough, it says hakivei no lefechasecha. It says you have to imagine that if you bring this to your governor, is he going to want it? Is he going to accept your face? You're crazy. For Melech Malcham, for sure, it's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be fit. And the over here, it's talking about the Naktino. He took it out, and then the Zarino, and he's planted it into the ground. The Kabbalah, now he wants to use it for a couple of mincha. What's the deal? Says, are we going to say, Mishum de Susa? Since this chitin was in the waste of an animal, so it's disgusting. It says, but once he planted into the ground and there's no tvua, the whole disgusting part is removed. I don't know, should I say, hey, it's weak. This barley is weak because it went through the digestive system of the behemoth, so it's not going to come off good. But so since so now too the tvua that grows out is shvachamaises. So I'd say you can't use it for a mincha. Teiko. Peel, elephant, Shabala Kvifas Mitzis. He swallowed a reed basket. He ate a, and he kiyad al beisarei mal. And then it came out a full basket out. Just you have to wash it off and bring the American. What's the shiloh here? If you want to say, oh, it's no more keli because it went through the system, so it was mavatal the tumah. No, something tummy touched the basket. He swallowed it. Maybe the tumah went away. Says he, what are you talking about? Tanina, kol kelim yoynu de tumasam b'machshava. All kelim, even with machshava, it becomes tummy. If he had a mind to use it, let's say even the hide. Even though he's not a keli, he wants to use it as a tishlach to eat on. It's a keli, just by machshava. And they don't become tired from the tumah, only if he does something. He rips it or he breaks it, or breaks a keli. That's the only way that it can become tired. But here, everything came out whole. It went in a hole and came out whole. Yatzu nichnas v'shalom. It went in and out. Yeah. Like Tzircha says, Gemara over here is talking about the Bala Hutzin. He swallowed a bunch of lulavim, like the branches, and Avdinu Kfifa Mitzvahs, and he made, or the behemoth made it into a basket when it came out, or he made it into a basket. So it says, Gemara, are these Hutzin that were in the stomach of the elephant considered disgusting? Havalei. So consider it as a keli that was made from waste, or clay adama, clay from earth, And these kelim ain't makabel tumah. They are not makabel tumah. The Mamad, the Tana says in the Brais and Shabbos, klei avadim, klei glolim, klei adama, ain't makabel tumah. Leimer divir tenu, leimer divir safin. Any kelim that's made out of stone or any kelim that's made out of waste or earth is not makabel tumah. Or perhaps loy have equal. Or should we say that the hutzim are not considered that it was digested, it didn't turn into the geda of waste, and it's a regular keli, and it is mekabel tumah. Says you want to teach like mahal. Let's answer from here. Rabbi Ola said Shimon bar Yohit Tzadok. Maisa, there was a story. It's a crazy story. Wolves swallowed two children alive.
Like children?
Children, yes. And when they made, it came out from the waist, the children came out, pieces of them. So they want to know, is it tamei mace or not? So they said, since it went through the waste system, it's tar. So you see that the waste system changes it into like glowing, that it doesn't become tamei. Says, you want to know, shiny basar derachik. By children, they're soft, the basar was soft, so therefore the digesting was a good digestion. It did change the tzuda from the baby that it shouldn't be tamei mace. Says, you want to live shit in that sefer? So let's answer from the sefer. It says, but the timas hatzamis, the bones of the baby are metame, do become tamei, and even though it's hard. So and the branches are also hard. So let's learn out. Just like the bones of the baby as metame, it's hard. So the branches should be metame. Says you want to know? Shiny atzam is that kush itvei. Atzam is bones of a person is stronger than branches. So you can't compare. So nishtahin nishtahir. It's not soft, but it's not as hard. Okay, Bayra Abzeda. Abzeda is the shayla. Chitin sheyodu be'ov. Chitin that came down from the clouds. Let's say you had a ship with a whole bunch of tvua, and you know those tornadoes that they swallow it in, and then it can drop it somewhere. You can have tvua from one ship full on another ship, or full on the same ship. So it came from the sky. Says the Gemara, Lamai, what's your shaila? Says the Gemara, Ila Menochos, if to use it as a menacha, a mincha, a mailai, why shouldn't it be kosher? It's regular tvua. What psul is there? Says you want to use it for shtei halachim. My b'mayshrei mamrachmana. By shtei halachim it says it has to be from Eretz Yisrael. It has to be from the tvur that grew in Eretz Yisrael. Lafuki the chutz laaretz. The light to exclude if it was chitim from chutz laaretz you can't use for the shtei halachim. How the oven? But if it's chitim that came from the clouds, shapadami maybe it is good. Or perhaps b'mayshrei seichem dafka. It has to be from the ground. From the ground of Eretz Yisrael, not from the clouds. The oven namalois. I'll say oven is not going to be good. In fact, do you have such a case that chitim should fall from the sky? Says yes. Baradi taya nechisle rum kizba chiti. Rum kizba betplasa pasa. Rum kizba is the size from the tefa, but you pick up your thumb. It's so high, that thick of tvua fell down on 3 parsois from the sky, fell down. So it's shy when it should fall. It's like a nest that falls down from the sky. So it's like if you're allowed to make, the Rebbe always asked me again to the Shemen for Chanukah is given on nest. The first day was oil. It was the real oil. But all the other days was nisim. So it was a shiloh if you can make the bracha al nest. Here is also, but here there's no inyan of bracha al nes. He's talking about, is it considered as tuah from Eretz Yisrael because it came from the skies, or you need it from the Eretz? Okay. But Rav Shimon ben Pazi. Rav Shimon ben Pazi is the shlish. The stalks that grew a third already. That's the amount that should be considered as a fruit that you can bring bikurim, or you can bring the oima to be matering. He grew already a third before the oima, va'akara, and he ripped it out from the ground before he was making the oima, ushesala, and he planted it again, and lacha oima, and then after the oima va'isifa, it grew bigger, right? or you planted after the Eimah, and now it grew bigger than a third. Ma, what's it in? Basi Ikaslina, do we say, look, it grew a third, you brought the Eimah for the third, so the third is already mutter. Now you put it into the ground, it grew more, but it's all coming from the Ikar, it should be mutter. Or Vishaya Eimah, I should say the Eimah was matter because we go after the Ikar. Like then I say, no, Basa Pesach says Lina. We go to what grew now after the Eimah, you need a different Eimah for that to be matter. Says Gemara, maybe we should have to wait till the next Eimah. Says Gemara, let's answer from here. Rabbi Yavo said the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Yalda, the first planted tree, the first 3 years, you're not allowed to have enough of the paytas. Okay. So what did he do? But it could be bottled in Masayim. If you get all the paytas mixed with 200 more of heter, the paytas, it's bottled. What did he do? He grafted the tree together with an older tree. Shezibicha b'zikna or b'zkeina. Uba ha-paytas, and there was paytas afilu ha'isiv kifim Masayim. And the paytas of the heter, the old tree, grew 200 more than the other. So what's the din? Says the Gemara Aser. So you see, you go according to the Ikar. Because the Ikar Allah, that's what Aser did, even though it has 200 against it. So that is said by us, we go after the Ikar, and you wouldn't have to wait for the next Omer to be matter the extra. It's bottom of Masayim, but he says, Nishda. Allah, we go after the Ikar. He says the same thing by Kalai. Kalai Akarim. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani, Rabbi Yonasan, Batzel, onion, that he planted it by the vineyard. Then he ripped out the kerem. Now, even now, he had now 200 more than the Kalayim, which it should be bottled. Also, it's also. Why? Because we go after the Ikar. So the Ikar is what's the Eimer's matter, and whatever's extra, you would need taka for the new Eimer. So what's the shot? He says, he gufin come by a lay. That in itself was the kasha. The basa Ikar is lina. It's for sure we go after the Ikar, but we're not sure. Is it whether it's kula or chumra? Maybe it's a suffix, they were mesupik, ulachumra amrina. When it comes to lechumra, we do go after the Ikar. But lekula la amrina. But lekula over here, if you go after the Ikar, here would come out, you wouldn't have to bring another Eimer for the extra because you go after the Ikar. We're not sure for leniencies, we go after it. Take